The Java moss in this 10-gallon shrimp tank grows in this bushy sort of fashion, which just gets thicker and thicker, and it's creating quite the dark spot in the corner, the front right corner, where I feed the shrimp on fluorite black so that particles won't get lost in the substrate and rot. So what I'd like to do for this is very carefully add another piece of driftwood to sort of hold that Java moss back towards the flow of the hang on the back filter, and sort of free up the area where I drop the food for the shrimp. Look at how the Java moss is growing here. It's kind of stringy, wispy, grows rather slowly. I believe that the small amount of potting soil beneath the flue ball stratum is insufficient to fertilize this tank. The tank is also infested with limpets. So what I'd like to do is pluck this Java moss off of the Mopani driftwood and also the two remaining Anubias, and soak them in alum solution for a couple of days to get rid of all the limpets and limpet eggs. I can take the substrate and bake it in my oven. That'll get rid of any limpets. And the driftwood, after drying out, sitting in the air for a few weeks, that should get rid of those limpets as well. Look at the cherry shrimp tank after the addition of the piece of Mopani driftwood on the right. It's helping to keep the Java moss in place. And the feeding area for the shrimp is nice and bright. I can watch them feed. It's also easy to deliver food to that location. Notice how Java moss grows tall and stringy in my father fish style deep substrate tank. You can see that I've also added the Amano shrimp. One of the two is on that piece of driftwood there. I did my best to plug up all the holes in the glass canopy. Otherwise, I find that Amano shrimp always jump out. I just put them in the tank today. I'm hopeful that after they calm down, they'll be much happier in a 20-gallon than they were in a 10. The flow isn't very intense, so I was able to simply wrap long strands of Java moss around the ornaments, and they've stayed in place. And they're growing, so it does just fine. This Dwarf Sagittaria in this shrimp tank several months ago, and I'm very pleased to see that it's doing so well. It's probably doing better than any other Dwarf Sagittaria I have at the moment. I hope it'll send off some daughter plants, but for now each leaf is nice and bright green. I moved all but one of my Anubias into this tank. Most of them were in my 10-gallon bedroom tank. So there are regular Anubias and also some Anubias nana growing amongst the numerous pieces of Mopani driftwood. There's an Anubias on this side as well. I continue to feed cherry shrimp in this tank on the fluorite black in the front right corner, where the food particles are less likely to be lost in the substrate and rot. Most of the substrate is black aquarium gravel with potting soil.